What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be previewing the prelim. It's Port Adelaide versus Sydney at the SCG this Friday night at 7:10 p.m. It's going to be probably the biggest game that Port Adelaide have played in a long time in terms of what is at stake. We've been at a prelim a couple of times now under Ken. 2014, 2020, 2021 all failed. Straight sets exit last year. We've jumped that hoodoo of exiting out of straight sets. We've now made a prelim again, and it's against probably the best club in a finals campaign. This Sydney outfit has been nothing short of extraordinary for a long time, and this year they've been the best team in the comp. With their winning streak and their ladder positions and the way they've played, and they've just been superb. And they're playing the Bloods. It's the culture of the power. Culture of the Bloods, and then versing the power at the SCG is going to be, it's backs against the wall again, because you're going to be up against the SCG crowd. All the Swans fans are going to be out in force. It's going to be, everyone's going to be tipping the Swans. We are the underdogs, the severe underdogs. You look at the odds, it's almost, we're almost paying $4 to win this game. It is extraordinary, but there's always hope and there's always a sniff. So let's get straight into it. Let's preview this prelim final against the Swans. It's amazing to sit here and to actually be conducting a preview for the prelim. I'm extremely proud of this football club. For Port Adelaide to jump across all these hurdles. There's been outcry of emotion. There's been outcry against Ken Hinkley. There's been so much happening off the field for Port Adelaide this year, and we come into this game, we're in a prelim final in what's been one of the craziest seasons. The Swans, last time we played them was only a few weeks ago, and we pumped them by 112 points, and now we're at the SCG against them in a prelim. We haven't lost to the Swans in 8 years, since 2016 at the SCG. We've only played the Swans in a final once, and that was back in 2003, and we lost at at Amy Stadium on that day by 12 points. There is so much historical events and so many match facts about this game that there's a lot of writing on it. And I know history is history. History does not come into effect against these two sides on Friday night. Nothing will compare to what is happening then and now in that game and in that moment. But there's a lot of history between these two. There is, a lot of momentum coming from the Swans. There were a historical comeback against the Giants. Port Adelaide's win against the Hawks, defeating Hawkball when no one thought it was possible. There is just a lot going into this game. It's going to be a clash of, a two tails, the heavy favourites versus the underdogs. Port Adelaide will probably have no chance this week, according to the experts and the pundits. No one will be expecting Port Adelaide to win this, but within the belief that us Port fans will have, why not? Why not turn around an 84-point qualifying final loss into a grand final berth, potentially against the side that we lost to by 84 points? Why not? Can we get over this Swans outfit that holds every pillar possible to be a successful team? Their pressure, their Bloods culture, they've got the greatest finals player, I think, at the moment in Isaac Heaney. They've got Chad Warner. Errol Gordon's a star. They have arguably one of the best ruckmen in the comp in Brody Grundy. Their defensive structures are really strong. Forward of the ball, they have Tom Papley this time. Last time we talk about 112 points. They didn't have Papley, no McInerney. Their Marty was laid out as well that game, and they had to bring in Pete Laddams. So they're a little bit structurally different than last time. But the one thing that was noticeable last time, and that was the pressure from Port Adelaide. And the SCG is a vastly different circuit. This has the potential to be a very high scoring game, but also has the potential to be a very low scoring game, because the pressure that will come from both sides will be very, very just contested. It's going to be who can win the stoppage count and who can win the clearances and who can take advantage of their momentum, because these two are very momentum based sides. They can do runs of 5-6 goals in very quick succession. They know how to move quickly. They know how to hit the scoreboard. So there's a lot riding on this. Obviously, it's a grand final berth. But in terms of each part of the ground, each team will have their weaknesses. And I think Port Adelaide's is, the defensive outlier of, can they hold off a momentum swing like the Swans can do? And also their forward line, have they got an opportunity to kick enough goals? With Sydney, it's going to be, Can they withhold Port Adelaide's manic pressure? Can they, stop the likes of Rioli, Burne-Jones and Georgiada's kicking goals? They can look at the Swans outfit last time and the way we were able to penetrate their defensive zone and just hit constant inside 50 kicks and taking advantage of everything. It's vastly going to be different this time, but I think there's so many question marks for both sides, and what I think it will come down to is that defensive pressure. Can Port Adelaide's midfield do what they did last week? Can they have Horne-Francis, Butters, Drew, Rosie, all of those players? They don't have to have the 25-30 disposal game. I think we win games of football when each of them are having an impact defensively more so than on their offense. And we know that Butters and Rosie can really do wonders on the offensive structure, and Horne-Francis goes forward and he'll be the X factor this week. And I that's what I'm labelling. Him versus Heaney is going to be wild to see what they can do for each side and what they can do to give an opportunity for their side to win this game. That's the insight I'm taking into this. And man, they're not going to have much better of a chance, Port Adelaide, than winning this game if Horne-Francis is taking the moment, because he stands up in those moments and he's got to be the one, along with countless amounts of other performances. And I think as well, when it comes to it, and I sit here and I strongly believe this, if there's ever a performance you're going to see from Ollie Wines and Travis Boak this week to get Port Adelaide across the line, it's the old heads that'll work this one through. There is something about this game that spells an Ollie Wines performance that just stands out. He was great last week against Hawthorn, but there is something about that. And then the same with Boak, there is always momentum within Boak's performance. And if he is having a massive influence, which he has had in moments throughout the year, he gets his team across the line. There's also been moments where we've played really well and won well, and he hasn't had to have much of an impact. And I think that's always good. But in games like this, in a prelim, you want to stand up, you want to go make a grand final. Wines and Boak are the ones to watch for me. Obviously, the Swans are not going to have Callum Mills, which I think is a big out in terms of leadership and quality, but they do have that around the ground anyway. They're going to have the opportunity to have Taylor Adams come into the side, and that's a real possibility. They have a good elder, presence on the field, and a good veteran status is right across the board that bring experience. And, with the way they are able to, I think, manipulate the player and really be outsmarting their opposition is something that's going to come into fruition here. And, these young players are going to have the opportunity to really stand up in this situation. And we've had home games the last couple of weeks in finals and not withstood the pressure against the Cats, but then withstood the pressure against the Hawks, and having that atmosphere, same sort of atmosphere, but it's going to be away from home, completely different status for everyone. The one thing to watch for this game, when we talk about Mills and him being out, is the opposite for Port Adelaide is Kane Farrell. Does he have the opportunity to play? I'm doing this preview earlier in the week because I always enjoy to see what transitions from now, because this is early thoughts. This is what I'm thinking, and I generally believe that if Kane Farrell plays, then you're going to see the potential of a completely different outchange for Port Adelaide, and that is huge for Port. If Kane Farrell can play, that kicking skill and that kicking ability to get out of the defensive 50, his long-range bombs for goal as well as a massive, we haven't, with Port, we haven't looked when we've had the ball from that 50 to 60 mark. We've always just gone inside 50. We haven't had the option, but Farrell being there, do I risk Kane Farrell? I wouldn't risk him in round 3, 4, or 5. But if he shows any sort of presence to be good enough to play this game, then I'm playing him. It's tough because you don't want to risk him in case we do win for next week. But again, the opportunity is there to win a game, and you do whatever it takes. I know we've had previous history with Rosie, but I think Farrell, if he's looking good enough, if he can pass through the test and be comfortable with himself to play him. Everything it takes to get to a grand final. Once you're there, you're there. So whatever it may be, we'll see. But it's going to be massive, this game. I'm already nervous. I'm going to be just a wreck on Friday night before even the ball bounces. And it's going to be 4 quarters of hot, firing footy. Does the power go out? Or do the Bloods make Port bleed? My tip for this game, and I did it last week, and I'm going to do it again. I'm going with reverse psychology because it worked, and you don't change a winning formula. So tipping the Swans by 10 points. But, there's that wink, I'm only, you get it, but if we are to win, it'll be close. I think it's got to come down to Port's defensive pressure and who can kick the goals. And Dixon's obviously going to come in for Marshall, I think, which, whilst not great in terms of that movement and flexibility, at the same time, he did play against the Swans earlier in the year, and he was prolific and he was strong. So hopefully he can do the exact same thing. And also the fact that I think on a shorter ground, getting it inside 50 quicker, creating the contest, and you've got the likes of DBJ, Rioli on your feet and everything, and creating those stoppages for opportunities for everyone else to score, won't be so bad. So it's interesting to see how that will plan out. But if we're going to win, Port will win by 12 points or less, and it's all up to them. It's all up to that now. We're going into a prelim, underdogs at the SCG. Bring it on. Thank you so much for watching, Port fans, and everyone else. Let me know your comments below, and let me know what you're thinking about this game, your tip for the week. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. Obviously a big build-up and everything to play for. It's all coming down to this, isn't it? What a ride it has been, and what a ride it will continue to be. No matter what, get the job done, Port. We all believe in you. So I can't wait to see how it all unfolds on Friday night. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content to come your way. The last episode of The Glass Table just came out, so make sure you check that one out. And yeah, looking forward to it. My name's Anthony, and as always, come the pair.